Okay, we're straight up at noon, and I will start the recording.
All right. We are live and we are coming to you straight up at 12 Mountain Standard Time. Awesome. Welcome everybody to our science lunch. I'm so glad that you guys can be here. It looks like we've got people joining on Zoom. Share this link with those that need it so they can join us live. We'll be here for about 30 minutes or so. And we are also broadcasting to the One Team Global Live page on Facebook. So if you need to add people in there and tag them later, it will be recorded there as well. So let me jump right in. My name is Dr. Sierra Dedeker. I've been with this company for 22 years. My mother, Paige Riffle, had a brilliant vision to be on the prevention end of health and wellness, and thankfully brought me along for the ride. And I have the pleasure of working with one of the most brilliant scientists on the planet. I think when I first heard about him when I was 18 and I joined this company, I dug into his book and I went, this guy is pure gold and he will be changing the world. So before we jump in, let me thank Martha Sanchez for translating into Spanish. If you guys want to grab this in Spanish, jump into the translation room and we will remember to talk slowly so that she can get the translation for us. And thank you, Scott Van Pelt, our corporate partner, for always helping me organize these events and being the back end to facilitate and get us live and get this information out to so many that are craving it and wanting to be at this next phase of where we're headed. So that brings me to our topic today in biohacking. What is it? What does it mean? And why is it this pillar that we are walking into and wanting to educate you of, so that we can launch this not only new device, but so much more. So let's jump right in. Today, I have the honor of interviewing and speaking with Dr. Joe Chang, who is our Chief Scientific Officer, but one of the most brilliant men I've ever met, very well published, also an author, working on another book. And he's going to be sharing with us today, really, what is biohacking? Let's jump right in. So, Joe, take it away, and thank you for being here with us.
Thanks, Sierra. Great to be on the call. And as you mentioned, I forgot, Martha is going to have a bit of a job trying to translate, right? So we're going to speak slow, hopefully, and because she's doing simultaneous translation, I assume. So we'll be able to catch all the things. It is a great time right now. I'm so excited insofar as being on this call with you and so on, Sierra, because I think we are reaching a milestone in Nu Skin insofar as that I think what you're going to hear today is, I seldom use this term, but it's game changing. And that's the reason why I'm here with you, is to help people appreciate. Sometimes, I tend to use words that are so technical that you might miss the importance or the ramification of that particular approach or concept. So I'm going to be able to explain that and describe it better and more effectively for everybody on this call. Because, like I say, it's a milestone, and I think we are really at a point where we're going to have to take off into space in a way, and be able to use this new approach that we have created for all of you to become really successful and really grow more than anything else. So I think I'm going to share some slides with you, Sierra, and for everybody, hopefully they can see it. So I'm going to click on my share button here, and I'm going to click on this particular slide. And now I'm sharing the screen, I've been told. And
I can see it.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, good. So yeah, this is, we're going to talk about, particularly as far as a single entity is concerned. This is a new device that we have developed over the last couple of years and so on. It's called a Prysm. But before we actually dive into describing what this device is all about, I want you to consider something at a higher level, because this is where I think that's where the game is going to change. All right. And that is, when you look at Nu Skin, right, for some of you, since you've been with New Skin since you were an 18-year-old, 19-year-old with Paige and so on, you've always looked upon New Skin as a company that provides an opportunity, right? And it's a business opportunity. Our products are integral and absolutely important to support that opportunity. And over the last 40 years, when I step back and look at New Skin, if you will, I'm sort of look upon these opportunities that New Skin has created as five smooth stones, you know. And the reason why I use this phrase is because obviously it refers to how David took down Goliath, you know, with a slingshot, and he had in his pouch five smooth stones. And and I think that's what we've been trying to do. It's really this, in the case of New Skin, our five smooth stones are able to take down the Goliath of nutrition or the Goliath of beauty and so on, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. The first smooth stone, as all of you would recall, and I think you would agree with me, all the things we talked about 40 years ago and so on, with Steve, with Blake, with Sandy. These are the three founders we have in New Skin 40 years ago. That really all the things that they talk about, I can distill them into one smooth stone or one platform of opportunity. And that is all of the good, none of the bad, right? It really comes down to that particular focus. We want the best products. How do we define the best products? Because we use all the good ingredients and we leave out all the toxic or the bad ingredients. That has been the platform, regardless, whichever new product or whatever products that New Skin brought out 40 years ago and so on, it has been based on that ethos. And that is our first smooth stone. All right. And then in 1998, I came into the world of New Skin through the door that we call Pharmanex, right? Pharmanex was a company that I co-founded with other folks. And why was New Skin interested? Because they saw in Pharmanex a second smooth stone. And that is that it actually has created, that is Pharmanex, a sort of a R&D engine or a science engine that can actually substantiate the products that come through this engine. They're all science-based. In other words, we get the evidence, the scientific evidence, to be able to substantiate the claims that we make behind each and every one of our products, right? So that was a powerful paradigm. That was, nobody at that point in time has ever been able to create this engine to drive the supplements and the beauty skincare categories. So that was the second smooth stone that New Skin brought to all of you. And it became an incredible opportunity, right? And then we started the engine that we had brought into New Skin. We started to use it, we started to grow it and so on. And finally, it led to one question, because great, frankly, I'm sort of proud of all the science that we do and so on and so forth in New Skin, our scientists, 75 scientists and so on. But at the end of the day, we all thought that it would be even more compelling if we can help folks to be able to see or to measure after taking a supplement. The question became, how do you know your supplements work? That's how we came out with the biophotonic scanner in 2003. More than 20 years ago now. It's amazing. And I'll show you how that third smooth stone, right, insofar as the launch of the biophotonic scanner has given us lots and lots of data that we have begun to use it to create something new. The fourth smooth stone is this whole idea of the sources of aging in the body. That's why we created and we developed this concept called age lock. Our age lock products always address the sources of aging, whether it's on the skin, whether it's in the tissues, in the body, whether it's in our brain, and so on. We always talk about sources of aging. We have gotten away with this fourth smooth stone. We don't need to talk about the symptoms of aging anymore. We are actually going after the sources of aging, which have led, based on the scientific studies that we have and so on, it produces way more meaningful clinical outcomes, I call them, with our products if we go after the source of aging. That, again, over the last 10 years, has given us a whole slew of incredible products. And you have used all these products, whether it's on the skincare side or whether it's on the nutrition side, you have used them under this ageLOC umbrella or opportunity, and it has grown. It has allowed it to continue to grow. The fifth smooth stone that we came out with, as many of you would know, this is the most recent stone that we have used in Nu Skin, and that would be our devices, right? Initially we brought out the Galvanic Spa. Now we have the Lumi Spa, and more recently we have the so-called Well Spa that we use to integrate or deliver both benefits on the skin and also benefits inside the body as well. That is our fifth smooth stone, right? Each and every one of these stones created an opportunity for everybody, right? This is how we have developed and continue to refresh Nu Skin to make sure that you have the latest and the greatest in terms of an opportunity. So we're going to talk about, unlike David in the Old Testament, we have actually brought into the world of Nu Skin very, very soon something that we call the sixth smooth stone. And that is focusing on this whole new concept of biohacking through a device that we are calling Prysm IO. And I will talk about Prysm IO a bit more as we go on. But let me stop here a little bit and tell you about biohacking. I know your first reaction is, oh my goodness, this is bad. This is absolutely negative. Because in the world of computer, you don't want to hack somebody's computer because it's bad, right? You sort of introduce viruses, worms, whatever they do. If they hack your computer, it's destroyed. Actually, the word hacking actually came from the world of biology, and it was used in a very positive way. It's actually a term to describe how you can better understand the body. All right. So this is, you biohack your body in a way, in a very positive way, so you understand what has gone wrong. You can understand what are the systems or the processes happening, the biochemical processes or the metabolism or the genetic sources or whatever it is that has gone awry, that we can somehow, once we can see that, we can fix it. If you can't see something, you can't fix it. So biohacking is therefore a very important approach to understand better how we can help the body to stay healthy nutritionally. So that's where this Prysm will play an important role, because this will be the first time, because up to this point, people has been biohacking in a very haphazard way. They never had a device that can non-invasively look into the body and be able to sort of really help you understand what's happening in the body so you can use the right products and so on. So I'm hoping at the highest level, that's why when we talk about biohacking, that's what we mean. It's a very positive thing. It's not not a negative thing, because if we don't biohack well, you just won't be able to develop any effective products. So I'll come back to this biophotonic scanner, right? So some of you who have been with New Skin for the last 20 years or so would know that our original biophotonic scanner looked like this picture here. It was launched around 2003. He has some technical problems, I have to say upfront here, but nonetheless, it was able to measure antioxidants very well. Okay, it was able to sort of put out a reading fairly shortly, within minutes, if you will, and you know what we call your skin carotenoid score. Okay. And then a few years later, we improve on the technology. We fix some of the problems that we had with the original. We made it faster. We make it more reproducible, if you will. But nonetheless, it continues to measure the antioxidants levels in the body, not in the test tube. That's the power of this biophotonic scanner when we launch it, because for once, this was the only opportunity where you can look into the body and see what your level of antioxidant is. Okay. And then obviously the most recent version, called the S3, is that was launched, and this is the version that we are using now. But if you look at it, right, these three versions of the scanner, what do you see? At the end of the day, we're still measuring antioxidants, correct? We're still looking at it. Yes, no doubt there's a significant incremental improvement, but nonetheless, it's still measuring antioxidants. Right? It's almost like I don't know, maybe a toaster. I'll use a toaster because it might look like a toaster for some of you. It's the fact that the toaster, no matter how expensive a new toaster you buy, it's still toasting bread. It's just heat up the bread and give you toast. So, but I think with Prysm IO, this transformation is a leap forward. All right. It's no more an incredible improvement. And I'm going to tell you why that is so. It's not just about antioxidants. It's about more than that. Okay. It's about this whole idea now answering the question, do you know what your nutritional health is? And that's a way more meaningful outcome or metric to measure, because I think for some folks, in fact, for quite a few folks, you still need to go and explain and describe what antioxidants are and why they're important in the body. I think this switch or this transformation to nutritional health with Prysm IO is going to make a huge difference. It's a game changer. That's what we're talking about, right? Because now you have an umbrella that can cover a whole host of different categories that we have products for, right? All the way from gut health to weight management and so on. It really doesn't matter, you know. Eventually, we'll be able to use this particular device to go after skin health measurements as well. So these are really, I mean, recently, for example, we have launched Mind 360. Some of you, in fact, most of you should know that there's a new category for us. We launched 4 new supplements in that area, and it's under nutritional health. There's no deviation or a disconnect when we get the Prysm out. There is a connection, you know, that we can use to relate the two things together. So that's why I think by using this term, nutritional health, we are able to bring all our products together under one umbrella, if you will, and there's no need to worry about that we're going off on a tangent to a new narrative. It's really what nutritional health is all about. Okay, so obviously identifying an issue like nutritional health is something that if you don't have a solution, then what's the point, right? I will be asking, okay, tell me I have an issue, but is there anything that you have that you can help me resolve that issue? Well, we do. And this is just an array of products I've shown here, both on the nutrition side and also from the new skin side, skin category that you can use to address a particular problem or issue, as shown by the scanner, if you will. All right. So a problem with solutions is a much better paradigm than what it is. So what is Prysm IO at the end of the day, right? You're going to hear a lot about, oh, this is an intelligent device. You're going to hear a lot, we're using AI to do this and so on and so forth. Well, I want to make sure that you understand what AI is, because AI, artificial intelligence, doesn't work if it is not trained. All right. And the only way that you can train it is by inputting data. Remember that. That's a fundamental not misunderstanding, or maybe something that is missing when people talk about AI as the magical or the magic bullet or the end all and be all of everything. It is, but you need data, right? It's very similar to a human intelligence. When we were born, all of us were born with a brain. If we have a brain, therefore we should conclude that we are clever, right? As soon as we are born. But yet, our parents sent us off to school. Why? To learn, to have data put into our human brain, right? And that's the way that we became clever over time. No difference here with a computer, the artificial intelligence, so to speak. It's an algorithm, but the algorithm has to be fed with data. And this is where our Prysm uniqueness kicks in. You see on the left that says the Raman database? Remember, we launched our scanner back, 2003, more than 20 years. We have garnered over 25 million data points with the scanner. But that's not all. The data points are not just related to the scanner score, but we have also gathered some personal information or some like weight and age and so on from the people. And collectively, that's what we are calling the Raman database. So the antioxidant score comes with some really important lifestyle metrics, right? So by feeding these 25 million data points into our AI algorithm here that is built into the device, the Prysm IO, that's when we start getting the information and be able to call it that what's coming out from the other side would be the nutritional health metric. No more just antioxidant. Yes, antioxidant is being measured, no doubt, but we have been able to translate that into something even more meaningful, and that is nutritional health. All right. On the right is really the engineering or the physics behind the device. We call it the spectral absorption technology, and it's really based on light, how we manage to split the light into various wavelengths, and depending on the wavelength that we tune the device to, we can actually measure specific ingredients in the skin or inside the skin. So simply put, this would be the schematic for describing the Prysm IO. All right. So it's sort of really quite powerful in that sense of being able to translate and be able to use this to biohack the body. All right. This is what it looks like. It's the size of a puck, and the different color range you see at the top of it. So as we have shown in the biophotonic scanner, the blue zone or the further up on the right side of the circle, that would be the much better score than having a score on the left side, right? That's not all. You can, after it's so portable, you can take it around, measure, and so on. But once you bring it back to your office or to your home or whatever, and when you have a docking station and you dock it with the iPad, all sorts of information would also show up for you and see how you can use the information you have gathered on an individual to do the perfect recommendation of products for that person. All right. So I think it's going to be a very useful docking station for all of you. I'm just showing the iPad here, but you can also do it with the with a smartphone also. So that's the docking station. So, when I look at all this, and I've given you hopefully some idea of what we're trying to do with the Prysm IO, maybe you understand this if I use an analogy. We have looked through a telescope, right? And you've seen the most powerful telescope that they have built on Mount Paloma, or they put one in Hawaii and so on. And it's usually either in the desert or on top of a high mountain. Why do they do that? The reason why the astronomers do that is because they want to make sure they have a clear sky to look at. Okay? So when they do that, they can't get away from one very important factor that affects their vision of space, and that is the atmosphere that the Earth is shrouded with. Okay, the atmosphere is actually a pretty bad filter for telescopes. No matter how powerful your telescope is, it cannot penetrate that atmosphere and be able to give you a clear view of space. So you can't escape from that. You can build the best telescope in the world, but you can't biohack, actually you can't space hack on with an earthbound telescope. So what the astronomers did was actually to put a telescope in space. That is to put it above that atmosphere, and that's the whole reason and excitement behind the Hubble telescope that was launched more than 10 years ago. Right now, for once, because there is no more atmosphere to affect it, the Hubble telescope is sending back pictures of the galaxies and black holes and whatever that you could never ever get from an earthbound telescope. Actually, Hubble telescope uses a similar light technology to what we have in the device and so on. It's a light-based lens that they're capturing in the Hubble telescope. So I'm hoping that what we have in Prysm IO is actually a Hubble telescope of health, and eventually also of skin health also, right? But for now, we can clearly answer the question, do you know your nutritional health in your body? That's what the Prysm IO will help to actually be able to tell you. So, it's a tip of the iceberg right now, what I've shared with you, because I think our scientists are still working on it, and it's exciting enough that I'm willing to risk, in a way, my reputation also to tell you what I'm telling you now. It's just a tip of the iceberg. There are lots of other things that we're working on, and I think they will come to fruition, but I can't share it with you right now because I just don't have the data yet to convince me that it's working that well. But I'll give you one example, right? I've mentioned skin health a couple of times. There are other things that we can measure with the Prysm over time, and that is that we're going to bring skin health. How healthy is your skin into the world of Prysm IO as well? And further down the road, there are other things we can measure inside the body that will also further enhance what we mean by nutritional health. So market is big and everything else. It's sort of like, it's there for the grab for you to grab the brass ring, and I really think that this is really the tip of the spear with the launch of the Prysm IO in the next few months. Is an opportunity, and it is indeed the sixth smooth stone that we're hoping that all of you will use. Okay, Sierra. Hopefully, I'll
So
stop
good,
there.
Joe.
Okay.
So good. And I mean, I've looked at some of the current studies with skin health and carotenoids and went,
Yeah.
I wonder. I knew you were already ahead of it.
Yeah, because I already know, right? The carotenoids that we measure. For example, I've always asked the question, why do the carotenoids sort of accumulate so effectively on the skin? Because it's a natural sunblock.
Right.
You
How
know,
beautiful.
that's how our body protects itself in a way. Not the best, but nonetheless, it accumulates enough there,
Yeah.
to give you some protection against the sun. So,
Coming. Love it. Okay. And then one other thing I just want to
yeah,
weave in here, as a lot of people are so excited about what's to come, I think the important takeaway being this is decades of research and really information that we're putting into this Prism IO, right? To give us this, like you mentioned,
yeah,
platform, the next phase of growth. Let's talk a little bit about the opportunity now, right? And not
yeah.
waiting for this launch of this device and the tools that we have being the incredible supplement line that you and team have put together that allows for current biohacking with what we have and knowing better and doing better.
No, Sarah, it's great. Actually, all of you right now, if you don't have a scanner, you should be using it because you're going to help us make Prism IO even more powerful when we launch, right? Because remember, I told you, our AI algorithm cannot work without data, right? The Prism IO is driven by data. I already mentioned that to you. Well, what do you think you'll be doing if you help us get more data? The more data you get and more we can feed the Prism IO algorithm, the better it becomes. So, now is the time. And it's part and parcel of that when you start doing it now, you start to learn a little bit about the products, frankly, if you will. By the time you get your hands on the Prism IO, you're so well equipped to be able to go forward. You know,
Yeah.
it's you're already hitting the ground running, if you will.
That's so exciting. I remember when you launched the first age lock product with
Yeah, yeah,
Vitality, I was on
yeah,
my internship. Thank you for that. You saved my life and many horses in the process.
yeah.
Um, it was just like you said, this concept of tip of the iceberg. Really
Hmm.
want to drive it home to everybody listening to this. Joe, when you say tip of the iceberg, I know you're the king of the robust pipeline of what's to come. It's really truly just one piece, right? To what we're
Yes.
going to be able to measure going forward.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's I've already mentioned skin. I mean, there are other I'll use a technical term to impress all of you. There are other because it's light. So a term that scientists use is chromophores. Actually, it's just that any molecule they have a unique light fingerprint. Okay, so when we shine light on it, it either absorbs a lot of the light, but it absorbs it in a unique way. So there are other substances that we can measure, Eventually, I think maybe we can even look into gene function, So you see the tie back to HLOC
Yep.
with this Prism IO over time.
I figured that was coming with that being
Yeah,
your
yeah.
passion.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much, Joe. As this gets
pleasure.
posted, you guys, if you've got questions, I can put them all together and we'll get answers. If there's more you need answers to, we will do more of these. Martha, thank you for translating. Hopefully you're not totally out of breath, so appreciate you. Lots of fun info. Scott, thank you again for organizing. And Joe, I can't thank you enough for the time you spend not only here with us, but in research and development still, and in helping educate the world to help so many people. I don't even know if you realize your ripple effect. My life would be a lot different without you in it. So thank you, thank you.
My pleasure. It's always great to talk to all of you. Okay. So go for it. Thanks.
All right, guys, have a great day. Thanks for being here.
Bye bye.
Bye.